The island of Sodor is surrounded by a beautiful blue sea. It has fields with green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks of visitors for the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the island of Sodor. Thomas and Diesel. One morning Percy wasn't feeling well. His joint ached and he couldn't breathe properly. The Fat Controller came with the inspector, examined Percy and made notes in a small book. When they finished, the Fat Controller looked serious. "You'll have to go to the works, Percy," he said. "They'll make you better, but it'll be a long job." "Who will look after my trucks?" said Percy. "Toby can't do everything on his own." "He certainly can't," agreed the Fat Controller. "I shall borrow another engine." The only engine the other railway could spare was a diesel shunter. Duck was at the works when he could hear an oily purring noise. He recognised the new arrival at once. "It's Diesel," he thought, and scuttered behind the brake vans. "What's he come back for?" he said crossly. "The Fat Controller sent him away in disgrace." The Fat Controller was cross too. He needed another engine, and Diesel was the only one available. When Diesel reached the junction, Thomas was waiting with Annie and Clarabelle. "Hello," he said suspiciously. "You've come to help Toby, I suppose? Well, no tricks, mind." Diesel looked pained. "Tricks? Me?" he asked smoothly. "I'm just delighted to be an assistant to you really useful engines again." "Good," replied Thomas shortly. "I believe that when I see it." Diesel pulled some trucks carefully to Knapford Station, where Toby met him. "It's you, is it? Well, do your trunting, please, and then take these stone trucks to the harbour." Thomas and Toby made clear to Diesel that they would stand no nonsense. Diesel listened, purring quietly. "Yes, Thomas," he said smoothly. "I understand, Thomas. Of course, Thomas." The trucks knew that the Fat Controller had once sent Diesel away for troublemaking. "Let's have some fun," they sniggered. They teased Diesel and tried to annoy him, slipping their brakes on, accidentally on purpose. One morning they had gone too far. "Here's evil Diesel," they whispered as he came into the yard. "Oily creature." "Yes, Thomas," they mickered. "Of course, Thomas. Anything you say, Thomas." Diesel could stand it no more. "Grrr," he roared furiously. "I'll teach you." He gave the line of trucks a sharp push, shooting them fast into a siding. The oldest truck, who was also the rudest truck, was at the front. Too late, he saw what would happen. "Oh!" he squeaked. "Help!" With a loud crash, he hit the buffers. For a moment, the oldest truck, the rudest truck, was squeezed between the buffers and the other trucks. Then both he and the buffers collapsed, and the broken pieces were pushed onto the road. "Grrr," Diesel growled fiercely as he cleared up the mess. "Come on, you! Any more nonsense, and I'll squash you flat like I just did with your friend." The Fat Controller was furious. "You will go back to the other railway as soon as I can arrange it," he thundered. When the Fat Controller had finished with him, Diesel was glad he was going home. "I don't have to put up with working with steam engines anymore. You'll be scrapped one day." "Shut up," burst out Duck. "I didn't cause this incident." A day or two later, Bowker was running downhill when he felt something warm and wet under his wheels. At the next station, he felt hot, and his joints were stiff. "You've lost your oil," said the driver. "Bertie will have to take your passengers." Then Thomas arrived with Annie and Clarabelle, full of people on their way from home to town. Thomas started confidently up the hill, but his wheels began to slip on Boco's oil. He slithered to a stop. Then, "Help! Help!" he whistled. "I'm slipping back!" Near the bottom of the hill were some special points to divert runaway trucks off the line. Thomas could not stop his heavy train from pulling him down the hill towards these points. Clarabelle's back wheels were directly off the line and sank firmly into the mud, and Thomas stopped. "That's torn it," said the guard. He helped the passengers back to the station. Diesel was waiting at the next station, pulling his last train before going home in disgrace. He sniggered slightly when he heard about Thomas. "Serves him right," he said. Then Diesel remembered that while Thomas was blocking the signal line, he couldn't get past. The trucks tittered as he pushed them crossly into a siding. "Bother," thought Diesel. "I shall have to go and help, or I can't get home." He set off to the rescue. At the oily place, he had stopped before creeping up carefully until he could couple up to Thomas. Meanwhile, the workmen were putting sleepers under Clarabelle to make a slope up to the line. Then they cleaned the oil off the rails and put some dry sand on them. At last, everything was ready. Diesel dug his wheels into the sand and pulled, but he was careful not to pull too hard in case a coupling broke. With the sanded rails, Thomas could help too. The engines moved forward a little way and stopped, then a bit more, until inch by inch Clarabelle came safely back onto the line. Clarabelle was unhurt, so they went back for the passengers. Then, using plenty of sand, both the engines pulled the train up the hill. "Thank you, Diesel," said Clarabelle. "You were splendid." Diesel began to feel sorry that he was going home. Thomas, Toby, Annie and Clarabelle asked the Fat Controller to forgive him, and now hopes that Diesel will come again. Diesel hopes so too.